Where do these fake passports come from?
Well, we don't know exactly, but we have some information that there's a trade in fake or could be even real Syrian passports in Turkey and also in Syria. But one thing I would like to stress is that thousands of migrants, many of them Syrians, are crossing the border from Turkey to Europe. Many of them don't have any documents, and that's typical of irregular migrants. I mean, some have some sort of identification, be it a passport or an identity card. Of course, it takes an expert to determine if this is real or a fake document, and it's not always easy to do. But many don't have any documents.
So what kinds of tests does Frontex have in place to try and verify that people who are indeed who they are?
Well, we have experts on the islands who assist with the registration of migrants. We call them screeners, and their job is to help establish nationality of every migrant. They work normally with interpreters who help communicate with the migrants, and they ask a series of questions. And their sole job is to determine if this person is actually of the nationality they are claiming.
But how do they determine that? Do they look for international arrest warrants? What do they do exactly?
No, they conduct an interview. They conduct an interview. So, the obvious thing is that if you are using a translator, there are certain clues when a person is speaking with a certain accent. We know that Arabic spoken in Syria is different than Arabic spoken, let's say, in Morocco or Tunisia. But that's not the only category. I mean, they ask questions. Migrants are answering questions about about places they claim to be from.
What if a passport is a real passport, but just the photo has been switched out? Are there any checks in place to verify that?
Well, they are, in some, now we have a number of document experts and we've increased the number of document experts even before the tragic events in Paris. It really takes an expert to be able to determine if a document has been falsified. That some cases might be easier than others. Some false documents might be more obvious, and some might be very good. And there might be a case, and we know that there were cases of legitimate Syrian passports sort of circulating in Syria. So, and then, we are not sure if the people who are holding them are actually the person that obtained them in a legitimate manner. So there are many questions.
Given the current feeling of the day, given the attacks on Friday, is Frontex planning to put in different, perhaps more efficient controls, or do you think what you're doing now is sufficient?
Well, what we are doing is helping Greek authorities to register migrants and identify them. So there are screeners working with interpreters that we put document experts. But one thing that we have to remember about our work, that we as an agency currently are not allowed to process any personal data. So we don't have access to any databases. We pass all this information to the national authorities. Hopefully, in the future, our mandate will allow us to do more, to do more in this area.
Eva, do you think that the attacks in Paris, especially the fact that the Syrian passport was found near the body of one of the suicide bombers, will make an already bad situation for refugees and migrants in Europe even worse?
Well, I mean, of course, it raised questions, and it's a question of security. On our part, I can tell you that we are doing, and we've been doing everything we can, deploying more experts to conduct registration properly at the external European borders, because unfortunately, with such high influx of migrants, it was not possible this summer, but now we are deploying. We've asked for more experts. We have asked for over 700 experts, and over 600 of them are to be deployed in Greece. We have already received from member states over 300 additional officers. We are still asking for more. So this registration process is done correctly.
All right, Eva Moncur, thank you so much for your time. You're the spokesperson for the European Union border agency, Frontex.